Rich Woman, complete one-part analysis. The central message of Rich Woman is that financial independence is not simply an advantage for women, but a necessity. Kim Kiyosaki argues that many women have historically been taught to seek financial security through relationships, employers, family members, or government systems rather than through their own investing knowledge and financial capability. The book challenges this belief and encourages women to become financially educated, take responsibility for their own wealth building, and develop the confidence to make investment decisions independently. According to Kiyosaki, the greatest form of security does not come from depending on another person's income, a pension plan, or a future promise. It comes from owning assets that generate income and understanding how money works. The book is built on the idea that every woman, regardless of age, education, income level, or relationship status, can learn the skills necessary to build wealth and create financial freedom. A major theme throughout the book is the importance of financial self-reliance. Kiyosaki argues that life is unpredictable, and that relying entirely on someone else for financial security can create vulnerability. Relationships may change, marriages may end, jobs may disappear, businesses may fail, economic conditions may shift, and unexpected events may occur. Because uncertainty is unavoidable, the book encourages women to develop their own financial competence rather than assuming someone else will always provide support. Financial education is presented not merely as a practical skill, but as a form of empowerment that increases confidence, freedom, and control over important life decisions. The ability to generate income, evaluate investments, and manage assets creates options that dependency cannot provide. Another significant idea in the book is the rejection of what Kiyosaki views as the dependency mindset. She argues that many people unconsciously adopt the belief that financial security should come from an external source. This source may be a spouse, a parent, an employer, a pension plan, or a government program. While these resources may provide assistance, the book argues that building a financial future entirely around them can be risky because they remain outside one's direct control. Kiyosaki encourages women to shift from a mindset of dependence to one of ownership. Instead of asking who will take care of them financially, they are encouraged to ask how they can acquire assets, generate cash flow, and increase their own financial capability. This shift is portrayed as both practical and psychological, because confidence often grows when individuals feel capable of directing their own financial future. The book also spends considerable time discussing the relationship between confidence and financial education. Many women feel intimidated by investing because they assume successful investors possess extraordinary intelligence, advanced mathematical abilities, or specialized expertise. Kiyosaki challenges this assumption. She argues that successful investing is often based more on understanding fundamental financial concepts than on mastering complicated calculations. Concepts such as cash flow, assets, liabilities, income, expenses, leverage, and risk management can often be understood without advanced mathematics. The book emphasizes that financial literacy is a skill that can be developed over time. Confidence does not appear before learning. Confidence often emerges because of learning. As knowledge increases, fear tends to decrease, making action easier. A recurring lesson is the distinction between emotion-driven financial decisions and knowledge-based financial decisions. Money often triggers strong emotions, including fear, excitement, anxiety, greed, insecurity, and hope. These emotions can influence investment decisions, spending habits, and risk tolerance. Kiyosaki argues that education serves as a tool for reducing emotional decision-making. The more a person understands an investment, the less likely they are to be controlled by fear or excitement. The goal is not to eliminate emotion entirely, but to develop enough knowledge that important financial decisions can be evaluated logically rather than impulsively. This emphasis on education reflects the book's belief that uncertainty often creates fear, while understanding creates confidence. One of the most important concepts in the book is the distinction between assets and liabilities. Kiyosaki argues that wealth is built primarily through the acquisition of assets, rather than through consumption. Assets are generally described as things that have the potential to generate income, increase in value, or contribute positively to financial growth over time. Examples might include businesses, investments, and certain types of income-producing real estate. Liabilities, on the other hand, are financial obligations or possessions that consume resources without generating sufficient returns. The book encourages readers to think beyond income and focus on ownership. Instead of asking how much money they earn, individuals are encouraged to ask what assets they own and how those assets contribute to long-term financial security. Another major framework involves understanding different ways people earn money. Kiyosaki frequently discusses the idea that individuals can earn income as employees, self-employed professionals, business owners, or investors. Each category involves a different relationship to time, money, and scalability. Employees generally exchange time for wages. Self-employed individuals often own their jobs, but remain closely tied to their daily work. Business owners create systems that can potentially generate income without requiring constant personal involvement. Investors allocate capital into assets that may produce returns over time. The book encourages readers to understand these distinctions, because ownership and investing can create opportunities that are not directly dependent on working more hours. Financial freedom is often linked to creating income streams that continue regardless of whether an individual is actively working every day. Real estate receives significant attention as a wealth-building vehicle. Kiyosaki often describes real estate as attractive because it can potentially generate rental income, provide tax advantages in certain jurisdictions, and allow investors to use financing strategically. However, the deeper lesson extends beyond real estate itself. The broader principle is that investors should understand how an asset generates returns and how risk is managed. Successful investing is not presented as speculation or gambling. Instead, it is portrayed as the process of acquiring assets that have the potential to produce cash flow and increase net worth over time. Knowledge, due diligence, and education are repeatedly emphasized as essential components of successful investing. The book strongly advocates continuous financial education. Kiyosaki argues that traditional education systems often focus on preparing people for employment, while dedicating relatively little attention to investing, entrepreneurship, asset acquisition, or wealth-building strategies. As a result, many people graduate with professional skills, but limited understanding of how money works. The responsibility for financial education therefore falls on the individual. Readers are encouraged to study books, attend educational events, seek mentors, participate in investment communities, and learn from practical experience. Financial education is portrayed as an ongoing process because markets, opportunities, and economic conditions continue to evolve. Another important lesson involves taking action before feeling completely prepared. Many people delay investing because they fear making mistakes. Kiyosaki acknowledges that mistakes are inevitable and often valuable. Experience frequently becomes one of the most effective teachers. Rather than waiting for perfect certainty, the book encourages individuals to start small and learn gradually. Small investments allow people to gain practical experience while limiting potential losses. Over time, knowledge accumulates, confidence increases, and larger opportunities become easier to evaluate. Progress is presented as more important than perfection. The objective is to begin learning through action rather than remaining trapped in endless preparation. The book also emphasizes the importance of building a strong support network. Investing is rarely portrayed as a solitary activity. Successful investors often rely on accountants, attorneys, lenders, brokers, business professionals, mentors, and experienced advisors. These relationships provide access to expertise, opportunities, and perspectives that may not be available otherwise. Kiyosaki encourages readers to learn from individuals who have already achieved financial success, rather than relying exclusively on conventional opinions. A knowledgeable network can accelerate learning, reduce mistakes, and improve decision-making. Ultimately, Rich Woman argues that financial freedom begins with responsibility, education, and action. Wealth is not portrayed as a matter of luck or inheritance, but as the result of learning how money works, acquiring income-producing assets, developing financial literacy, and making informed decisions over long periods of time. The book's central message is that every woman has the ability to become financially stronger, more confident, and more independent by taking ownership of her financial future. The combination of education, investing knowledge, personal responsibility, and consistent action creates the foundation for greater freedom, flexibility, security, and control. According to Kiyosaki, the most important investment a woman can make is not in a stock, a property, or a business, but in her own financial education, because that knowledge becomes the tool that makes all other opportunities possible.